Week of readings, potentially from the Science of Mind magazine, the Daily Guides, but who knows? We're not quite sure where it's going to take us. But anyway, that's my intent. The first reading, or the reading today, is actually from Rev Dr Michael Gott, and the reading for the 8th of December from the Science of Mind magazine, Daily Guides. Today has been a kind of odd day. I was supposed to go mediate, and then I found out it was cancelled. So I ended up doing stuff around the house, which is kind of a little bit different. I had more time on my hands than I expected, so I was able to do some reading, but that's probably not as important as me reading the reading for the day, which is called Be Someone. So let's see what he means by be someone. The first quote is from Oscar Wilde. It's a famous quote. It's repeated at fairly frequent intervals. Be yourself, everyone else is taken. Be yourself, everyone else is taken. That's a pretty well-known quote from Oscar Wilde. And Ernest Thomas said, God is over all, in all, and through all. God is right where I am. I'm at peace with myself. And you substitute whatever word you want for God. That was from this thing called you. And here's something Michael Gott. Of course, he lives in Houston now. I think he lives in Houston. He's the senior minister of the main Unity Church in Houston. And he, as I said, he's been to our spiritual center a couple of times for ordinations. But anyway, I have never seen this. He says, in Houston, there's a famous bit of graffiti on a railroad overpass as you're driving south into downtown. It says, be somebody, in block capital letters. I've never seen this, actually. He says dozens, if not hundreds of times, other graffiti have been painted over it. But it always returns. Some entrepreneurial someone made t-shirts of it. He says, I've got 2 of them. So, be somebody. And he says, this simple message resonates with people. Why? He says, we've been given this human lifetime and we've been invited to do something with it. Part of the someone we are invited to be is already within us, our soul, our individualized expression of spirit. And part of it is waiting for us to create something new. He says we have agency and choice. And these dual invitations to some oneness are not at odds, but rather they serve one another. When we shed enough of our conditioning to sense our innate unique qualities, the process leads and informs us in what we might do with this one wild and precious life. He says, today be courageous in letting go of your patterns of thought and behavior that are not authentic. And listen deeply to what your soul invites you to do. Why? So that you can be the someone who will most free and fulfill you. All right, so what is he saying here? When he says we have agency and choice, he's saying that by agency we have free will. Now, there's lots of different thoughts on it. Some people who are of a deterministic viewpoint will say everything has been predetermined, so it really doesn't matter what you do, you're going to end up in the same place anyway, which means in effect you don't have free will. And then others will say, yes, we do have free will. We have the ability to make choices and to move in different directions. There's nothing that's been predetermined, and there's nothing that's compelling us to go in a particular direction. And then some people compromise and say, well, it's all been determined, but you've got free will in between those limits. So although the end outcome is already known, kind of like a Hallmark movie, well, you know what the end is going to be, right? You know the 2 people are intended to be together. They're going to be together, whatever happens. It's already determined, but there's a lot of free choices they can make on the way there. But true free will says, no, it's not already been determined. That yes, we are on a path of evolution, but we have the free will to determine our own path in that direction. And if we make mistakes and we're open to getting corrections, then we'll just keep moving along, and we will end up back on a route that works for us. And that when you are someone, it means, yes, I have free will, I have free choice, and I can pick and choose what I do. And in our sense, I choose to follow a path that's called spiritual, and I choose to believe that there's goodness in everything, even though on the surface it doesn't appear that there is. And I choose to believe that my outcome will be good. And if you read Emma Curtis Hopkins, and the class that I'm taking again, and probably again and again, I've taken a bunch of times with Reverend Jesse from Emma Curtis Hopkins, she absolutely says that you got free will, that you have the free will to make choices. When you decide in your mind that part of that free will, you will think good thoughts about yourself and other people, and you will reject anything that's not like that, then only good will follow you. And as we say, it's not an easy path. It's easy to fall back and just let things happen. So anyway, that's what I got out of this whole thing. And as I said, it took me back to Emma Curtis Hopkins, who was really hardball metaphysicist. She said, if you have the power within you, you can choose whether you decide that good is what you will have, or you can just kind of let it go and go with the flow. So, and our good friend Rev Michael Gott gives us a bunch of affirmations, and I wish that when we end up with a bunch of them, the Science of Mind magazine would have the ability to say affirmations and not affirmation, because here it's not one affirmation, it's a bunch of them. Yes, it's a pet peeve of mine, but as I said, I think an affirmation is something you should be able to take hold of and repeat, and it should be simple enough that you can do that. And it should be short enough so that you can keep repeating it, because you're affirming things. You are affirming a truth about yourself and other things. I listen to the authentic voice of my being, my spirit within me. I listen deeply to that inner voice. I choose to live from this deep and genuine place within. You can change that. I choose to live from a deep and genuine place within. I make decisions, take actions, and speak words that honor the someone whom I am. I make decisions, take actions, and speak words that honor the someone whom I am. Or the someone who I am. I beg your pardon, the someone who I am. Well, this is my offering to you for today. So, lifting yourself up, doing your work every day, doing your spiritual work, taking some quiet time, even if it's only 5 or 10 minutes a day, just pulling back from the world and being there and allowing yourself just to be centers you, and it actually helps you to move on for your day. And doing breathing exercises and concentrating on the breath when you do it, it's good mentally, spiritually, and physically. So it's a really good practice. So I know for each and every one today that their good is moving towards them as they open themselves up to accept it more and more. And I claim this in the divine mind, in the mind of God, in the mind of all there is. And I am grateful for it, and I call it done. And so it is. And I will see you tomorrow. Yep, 5 p.m. tomorrow-ish. And my colleague, Reverend Lisa, will be on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page tomorrow, somewhere at about 9:15. And as I said, if you like our messages, please pass them on. And if you want copies of the magazine, let me know and I'll tell you how to get them. So, till next time, namaste.